So millions and millions of Americans are now on the verge of bankruptcy. And what is going on right now is something we have not seen since the first quarter of 2020, that pandemic, and since 2008, since the great financial crisis. What is happening right now as far as delinquencies is getting out of hand, and millions of Americans have no idea how to get back on top of their bills. I'm going to break down what's going on at this time, how millions of Americans are about to be impacted physically and financially, but what this means to everybody else. So again, I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain what is going on and how you will be impacted as well. But before I do, all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So it's crazy to think that right now, in the end of March of 2025, which is 5 years after the pandemic started, we are now starting to see those signs again. People cannot pay for their monthly bills. They can't even pay for essentials, for the necessities. We learned just last week that 40% of Americans are relying on their tax refund just to pay for their essentials, like utilities, food, and housing. Yeah, it's getting insane. But look at this. It says FHA loans fuel mortgage delinquency increase. It says FHA borrowers make up a small share of mortgages, but dominate past due loan growth. Yeah, we are seeing FHA mortgages are leading the charge, but it doesn't stop there. Look at this one. This says student loan delinquency rate skyrockets as 4 million borrowers are behind. That was from just 2 weeks ago. 4 million student loan borrowers are behind, and it's actually getting worse. I want you to listen to this, okay? Somebody wrote to me just the other day, and they said this, and I quote, "I could really use your help. My husband and I sold our second car last week in order to make a full payment on our main car. Now I have to carpool back and forth from work while my husband is responsible for taking the kids to school. We are already 5 months behind on our mortgage. We haven't even made a partial student loan payment on his loans in 3 months. All of our credit cards are maxed out and we are just scraping by even without making monthly payments. What advice could you give me?" Here's the problem. There's so many different things, and I'm not trying to give financial advice here, but there's so many different issues that every single household has. Some households have multiple children. They're putting them through sports. They got school. They got all these other things, all these outside activities. Well, for families that have multiple children, it's difficult because everything costs money. And for many households here in the United States, especially right now, they're opting to use a credit card to pay for things. Now, I love credit cards. Absolutely love it. I think there's more security there. And on top of that, sometimes you can benefit by getting miles or points or some cash back. But at the end of the day, if you don't pay it off, it really doesn't do you any good. Here's the thing though. Many people, millions and millions of households are seeing that they can't afford just the necessities. And now they're seeing everything that they put on their credit cards, they can't pay it. Look at this right here. It says credit card delinquencies hit multi-year high. Credit card balances surged by $45 billion. This was last month. Okay. I want to show you something really quick though. Because what we are now seeing is banks are scared. Banks are worried that we are going to see put the risk on them. So what are they doing? They are closing down accounts. They're shutting down savings accounts and debit accounts. Okay, they're checking accounts. They're doing this because what's happening is people are writing checks. People are going and negative in their accounts, but yet they never paid off. But look at this right here. Bank of America credit card delinquency. charge-off rates edge up in February. So their delinquencies are going up, their charge-off rates are going up, meaning they are charging off these accounts, these debts, because they know they are not going to get paid. Okay, Bank of America now knows they aren't getting paid. So guess what? We are going to see these banks, these financial institutions, put the rest of that responsibility off to the everyday person, off to you and I. Just because Joe Franklin from down the street can't make his payments, guess what? Bank of America is now going to charge additional fees. And I'm not just talking Bank of America. This is Wells Fargo, Citi. This is JP Morgan. They're going to start charging additional fees, higher interest rates. They're going to make sure they aren't the ones holding the bag. It's going to be us. That's who's going to be holding the bag. But look at this right here. It's not just individuals either. This says delinquency rates for commercial properties increased in the fourth quarter of 2024. Guess what? Just because there's been that return to office mandate doesn't mean everyone's doing it. And on top of that, there are many large office spaces, commercial buildings that are vacant. Nobody's there. Okay? The occupancy rate is almost zero. For many buildings, even in some large office buildings here in the Seattle area, in San Francisco, Chicago, New York, okay, we are seeing vacancies. In some cases, they are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. That's it. The majority of the space is empty. But look at this. I want to show you something, because what we have heard from the Federal Reserve, or the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, is this. I want to read this to you. Household debt and credit report. It says right here, total household debt increased by $93 billion to reach $18.04 trillion in the fourth quarter. Goes on to say, aggregate delinquency rates ticked up 0.1 percentage points from the previous quarter to 3.6% of outstanding debt in some state of delinquency. Mortgage balances rose by $11 billion to stand at $12.61 trillion. It says, where's it at? But edged up for auto loans, credit cards, and HELOC balances. Auto loan balances saw an $11 billion increase to $1.66 trillion in the fourth quarter, while credit card balances increased by $45 billion from the previous quarter to reach $1.21 trillion at the end of December. Now, I want to show you this graph here. This is what is troubling. Look at this right here. This is total debt. Okay, the red is non-housing debt and the blue is housing debt. Obviously, the housing debt easily surpasses its $13 trillion compared to non-housing. But look at this. Okay, this is how debt's been going up. You can see right here, auto loans is $1.66 trillion. Student loans is 1.61. Credit cards is 1.21. And other, like HELOCs and stuff like that, is $0.55 trillion. So 550 billion. Now, this is the thing that I want to show you. Okay, percentage of balances, 90 plus days delinquent. Okay, now I'm not too concerned with the HELOCs that's down here. I'm not too concerned with mortgages. It's right here. Okay, it's at 0.07 as of the fourth quarter of 2024. The reason why I'm showing you this is simple, okay? It's because of the kind of the trajectory that we're seeing. Look right here, auto loans. This is the fourth quarter of 2024. It's 4.8% are delinquent by 90 days or more. Guess what? The last time we were over that, okay, we're right here, we're at 4.8. The last time we were at 4.8 was back here. First quarter of 2021. The first quarter of 2020, we were at 5.1%. Okay? First quarter. So again, it was the end of first quarter, January, February, March. The end of the first quarter of 2020, that was the start of the pandemic. That's when we were at the highest. So if the pandemic wouldn't have hit, this number likely would have kept going up. That's what we're seeing now. It's going up. This is credit cards right here. We're at 11.4%. The last time we were over that, again, keep in mind, back in the second quarter of 2020, it was 9.8%. Last time we were up over 11.1% back here, okay, was Q1 of 2012. This, again, this is the great financial crisis. That's what this is over here. This whole span is a great financial crisis. That's where mortgages shot up. People couldn't pay their mortgage. Credit cards, again, up. Okay, these are other auto loans. Where are they at? Right here. They went up. Okay, what we're seeing today is something completely different. We're not going to see a financial crisis because of mortgages. Okay, that's what experts are telling us. It's not because of mortgages. It's because of all the other debt. It's because mortgages are very expensive. Okay, but again, your house is probably the one thing that you are going to pay on. Credit cards, student loans, your HELOC, again, you're probably going to pay on it. But even auto loans, those are things you're likely going to kind of default on a little bit, maybe 30, 60 days. Try not to get to 90 days. But millions of Americans are on the verge of this. And as they start to see their car gets repossessed, their credit cards can't be paid, they're struggling with their mortgage because it is very expensive. Then you got things like maintenance on the home. You got property taxes, which are going up. Homeowners insurance, which is going up as well. As you start to factor all these things in, the only option for many people is to try to sell their home and move into something else, okay, which most people don't want to do because rental prices are still insanely high as well. So for some people, their only option is bankruptcy. So it's a troubling time, but that is the times that we are currently in. I don't know how quickly we get out of this. According to economists, they say we are going to dive into a deep recession, but it will be quick. It's going to go deep, but it's going to be quick. I don't know what that means. I know kind of what they're saying, but I don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen. It all depends on the current economy, what's going to happen with tariffs, what happens with these Doge, potential cuts from the federal government, and so on and so forth. But the one thing I can promise you is I will be here every step of the way, and I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.